Welcome to Emotionally Healthy Legacy. My name is Elizabeth and I am a mom of 3 boys. My goal here is to educate you intentional ways that you can become an emotionally healthy mom. Ways that you can break destructive patterns that have been happening for years and how you can leave an emotionally healthy legacy with your children. Hello, welcome back to Emotionally Healthy Legacy. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about teaching our kids about emotions and how to handle them. So my kids I have 3 boys right now. They are 9, 6, and almost 4. And I have a little girl that's on the way coming in July of 2021. So that's super exciting. In this episode, I want to talk about how I talk to my kids about feelings and what is the most important thing to remember and to get out of this whole conversation today is that if you want to teach your children how to handle their challenging emotions well, when they're tired, when they're frustrated, when they're irritated, annoyed, whatever it might be, you have to teach it to them outside of the moment. Teaching it in the moment will not be useful because their thinking brain is shut off. And in order for them to actually remember the skills, you have to do it when they are not emotional and they are able to think logically and their thinking brain is actually turned on. That's when they will learn the skills. So the first thing that I do with my kids when I first started talking about feelings, I ordered this book from Amazon. It's like a flip book that has pictures of I think it's about 20 faces that are drawn, like emoji faces with feelings, and it has the name of the feeling, and then it also has, a face drawn. And we would go over them and label them what they are, especially with my youngest one, the middle one and the youngest one. The older one was already kind of, had an idea what they are. So that was the first thing that I did. And so when my kids were getting either frustrated or super upset, I would tell them, I would get that book out and I say, show me what you're feeling right now. Find the picture that you're feeling right now. And they found it kind of interesting and fun to do that, especially the younger 2 at that time when my middle boy was 5 and my youngest was 2. It was really, really helpful for them and they actually liked it. And then if you flip to the other side, it tells you what you can do when you're feeling that feeling. Things that are helpful that you can do. You can either, make a silly face. You can, jump around, do jumping jacks. You can talk to an adult. You can draw to express your feelings. And it's really cool. Or to have a snack. So it gives them also ideas of things they can do. I can link the Amazon link below that has that book. And you can check it out. Maybe that is something you can get for your kids, and that will be helpful for you to have them figure out what they're feeling. The other thing that I do with my kids is when they are feeling a certain negative emotion or even positive emotions, I help them organize their feelings and identify what they are feeling. For example, if they're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated or disappointed or angry or even excited, I say certain phrases that must feel very exciting. You must be feeling disappointed because of this and this. Or, wow, you look very, very angry. When you label those emotions and feelings, it helps your child connect the dots that what they're feeling in the moment this is the word to express it. So then they're able to put 2 and 2 together. And I started that with my son when he was 2, probably shortly after he turned 2.5 or so. And that was really helpful because then they're able to later on use those words to express what they feel. And that's how they learn. Also, the next thing that I did was when I feel a certain emotion, I label it and I model to my kids what I'm doing to regulate myself. When I'm feeling really overwhelmed or angry or frustrated, I don't hide that from my kids. I don't. I'm getting really frustrated and angry because this and this happened. And I'm going to take a break. Or I need to take some deep breaths to calm down because I don't want to say something mean or rude right now or hurt anybody. Or I need to go listen to some music. I need to take a break. I need to go take a walk. Or I ask them to give me some space, whatever it might be. Or even if it's a positive emotion, I try to label what I'm feeling. I'm super excited. So then my kids can see what excitement looks like. Usually with positive emotions, that's not really a problem. It's typically with the negative emotions that we have a hard time identifying them, what they are, and how to express them in a hopeful way. But that's another thing that I do. I need you to understand that emotions are not wrong. And we can't even control which emotions we feel. What can be sinful is what we do with them. So if we don't teach or model to our kids how to handle negative, challenging emotions in a hopeful way, in a non-destructive way, how would they know how to handle them in the right way? They don't. If nobody taught you how to read, how are you going to know how to read? If nobody taught you how to play basketball or, go figure skating or whatever it might be, anything, any skill, how would you know how to do it? So controlling our emotions, regulating our emotions, this is a skill that we need to learn and we need to coach and teach our children to do. That's something that takes time and effort and energy. And that's why my goal is to start with mom, because you are the foundation of your family. You need to focus on yourself first. So if you're overwhelmed and stressed, let's figure out why and get some things off your plate. Let's see if we can change some things in your schedule, some things in your home, or whatever it might be, so you are not as overwhelmed and stressed. When you're not as overwhelmed and stressed, you have more energy to give to your kids. Also, it starts with us learning how to regulate our challenging emotions in a helpful way so then we can model to our kids. Of course, we can still mess up. Yeah, I still mess up for sure. I'm not perfect. And when I do mess up, I own that. And I tell my kids, Mommy messed up today. I got really angry and the anger got a hold of me and I said hurtful things and I want to apologize for it. And I do ask my kids for apology, and I do that so I can model that and I mean what I say, but I also want to model to them what to do when I mess up. It's not the fact that we don't ever mess up. It's what we do afterwards when we do mess up. How do we restore that relationship between us and the kids? Do we ignore what we just did when we yelled and screamed at our kids? Or do we actually own it and apologize for it? And then later on, come back and analyze, okay, what did I do? What was going on for me that I reacted in that way? Is it because I had a really poor night of sleep? Is it because I was experiencing a headache? Is it because I haven't eaten all day and just snacked on some gummy bears? Is it because I have this tension with my girlfriend that's just so overwhelming and it's consuming me and taking so much of my energy and I just couldn't focus on anything else in my day? Typically, when we react poorly, there's an underlying reason why that's happening. And also with our kids, teaching them that when they're feeling a certain emotion, we can talk to them about it and help them figure out what's going on, why they're feeling that emotion, and help them process it and verbally get it out. Because when we talk about our feelings and emotions and we verbally process them, it gets them out of our system and it gets that yucky, negative feeling actually out. And another thing, I have a word that I learned from another podcaster, and she talks a lot about parenting. Her name is Rachel Bailey, and she uses the term yuck, a yucky feeling. And it's like any feeling that you're experiencing that is negative and uncomfortable, that can cause a threat to your brain. And so when my kids are having a negative emotion and I don't know what it is, and they probably don't know what it is, one of the things we do say, the term I use with them is, you must be feeling really yucky right now. Let mama help you. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out why you're feeling yucky. And if we come from that perspective, our kids are a lot more likely to open up and talk to us. Granted, my kids are 9 and under. This might be a little bit different. The terms that you would use would be with the older kids would be a little different. And I can't really speak much on that because my kids are not in that stage yet. So if your kids are, I apologize. I can't really help you a lot with that. You can still, I think, say certain things like, I see that you're struggling internally and you're saying rude and mean things, which are not okay. Let's figure out what's going on for you. Let's talk about it. And as a parent, that's our job, to show our kids that when they're feeling internally, they're struggling, there's an underlying reason why, and let's figure out what it is. Many times the kids don't know. They really don't know because they're kids and they're not mature enough and they're still learning and discovering life. And it's our job to help them figure out. And sometimes we can't figure it out. And that's okay. And those are the moments we need to give them grace. There's one thing that I haven't done much with my kids, but I've heard it can be really, really helpful for children, is especially if your kids like to draw, is to give them a motivation to say, let's draw what you're feeling. Let's draw about it. And if they enjoy drawing, they might really like, expressing their feelings that way. And sometimes when they draw, you can talk about their drawing later on and they can tell you a little bit more. My kids don't really care to draw, so that's not really a thing that we do, but it might be helpful for you. Especially I heard that it's like better with girls. So we'll see. As my little girl grows up, maybe we'll be doing that with her. Today's episode is pretty short, and I just want to quickly recap ways that you can teach your kids about emotions and feelings. Is first, you need to remember that you need to do this outside of the moment, because in the moment when a person is emotionally charged or flooded, their thinking brain is shut off, and so none of the teaching is registering. So you need to do it outside of the moment. Second thing is, I have that Amazon booklet that I got with, emojis that explain. They have the name and then they have a picture, and we can show them to our kids, and it can help them label what they're feeling. When they are feeling a certain emotion, picturing yourself in their position and what would you feel, and then help them organize their feelings by sometimes maybe even labeling what they're feeling. And that will help them identify what emotion they're experiencing in the moment. And then the next thing is that you can model, when you're experiencing a challenging emotion, labeling what it is to your kids. I'm feeling this and this because of this and this is what I'm going to do to help myself calm down. And you're showing your children what they can do next time they're feeling those emotions. Not to say that they're going to do it right away, because they are kids and they are immature. And it takes many, many times for our brain to actually learn how to do it. But what we can do is model, and our kids will remember that. They will remember those things when they grow up. They will. I promise you that. Another thing I want to mention is that I tell my kids, you are allowed to feel that emotion. It's not wrong that you're feeling it, but we need to keep challenging emotions safe. There's a safe way and an unsafe way to feel anger. And I'm going to help you stay safe and keep yourself safe and others safe around you. So I don't try to shame them for any of the emotions that they're feeling. I tell them it's normal and it's okay. And I can be with them in the emotion and help them through it because I'm the mature adult. I'm the mom. And they can rely on me for being there for them. But that requires energy and effort. And remember, you got to take care of yourself in order to show up that way for your kids. I know that for me in the beginning, it was really hard to be with my kids in their anger. That was a really hard emotion for me, and I really struggled with it a lot until I learned that anger is just another emotion and they need me to help them feel safe. And I learned to regulate myself so I stay calm and not triggered in that moment, because if I get triggered, I have to walk away and take a break. But if I'm able to keep myself regulated and stay calm, then I can be with them in that emotion. And if you think about it, anytime you've experienced a challenging, difficult emotion, it is really helpful to have someone next to you and be with you in the emotion. Just to be next to you. If you're super overwhelmed, if you're super sad, if you're super stressed, just having someone being there with you, next to you, maybe give you a hug and just sit there with you in that feeling somehow helps the feeling be less overwhelming. That same goes for our kids. So we need to learn to manage and regulate our emotions so then we can do that for our kids and be there with them so we can help them and give them that calm energy, because if we are regulated, it helps them to stay more regulated. It sends a signal that they are safe to their brain and they are able to stay more regulated and calm down faster, whatever that feeling might have been. All right, ladies, this is it for today. Nice and short. Hopefully some of this has been helpful and you can apply it in your life with your kids. If you think this is helpful for you, and if you can think of another mom that might benefit from it, I would love for you to share this episode with her. And maybe both of you can get something positive out of it and you can apply it with your children. Have a nice day, ladies. Bye. If you're a mom that struggles with handling her challenging emotions in a healthy way, listen up. I got a tool for you. If you go in the show notes of this podcast, you will see a link where you can sign up for a 5-day free mini course. And in that mini course, you get to learn actual practical things that you can do in the moment and outside of the moment to be more patient and calm so you're not as overwhelmed, so you're not as stressed, and actual ways to learn to de-stress yourself and calm your nervous system down. How often do we hear that we shouldn't react, we should respond? And the problem is, well, how? In the moment, I don't know how because I'm so overwhelmed and so triggered. In this mini course, you get to learn the how. I am so excited that I have these skills that I can share with you. So go in the show notes, click on the link, enter your email, and then you can start the 5-day free mini course.